In this video, I'm going to show you how to nurture your leads. This is the biggest mistake people make when they work with online leads is they're not nurturing people that are not able to do a deal right away. And this makes up the biggest part of their market. Honestly, most people can convert someone that's desperate to do a deal, but finding those people are far and few in between. You want to capture the biggest piece of the market, which are people that are uncertain what to do. They have a problem that you can solve, and you just need to build the trust and give them enough advice to actually close them. So I'm going to jump on my desktop to show you some of the features that you should be using to actually nurture them. And this part takes work, but once you get this down, you can really capitalize on your entire pipeline. Now, before we jump into the automations, it is crucial to understand how important long-term nurturing clients and leads actually is. Because when you look at the current market, whether you're in real estate or mortgage, doesn't matter. Right now, about 3% or less of the market is ready to do a deal. So if you run ads or if you're getting leads, it's unreasonable to think 100% of your leads are these 3%. The math just doesn't work out. Now, the great thing about these 3% is you can probably convert them, but they are also probably talking to other realtors, other loan officers, so you're kind of late in the game. Now, we should definitely work on these 3%, but the bigger piece of the pie are people that are in the research phase or in the dreaming phase of buying their next property or buying their first home. So your job really is to convert these people, the research and dreamers. And this sounds weird, but it is true. The only difference between people in this research phase and them being ready is your sales process. It's your ability to find them the home, or your ability to find them a good price for their home, or get them that mortgage deal that they're looking for. It's your ability to convince them that you are able to do the work that's required and build a trust with them. So the biggest piece of the pie is not the 3%, it's everyone else. And if you're only converting these people, you probably could make a little bit of money with online leads, but you might also fail. If you can convince these people and nurture them and do a good job and be a trusted advisor to them, then you can crush it with online leads. So this is the skill that you need to build. And this is why the automations are so important, because it's really hard to handle a large volume of people and nurture them. So this is where systems come in place. So understanding the difference between referrals and online leads is also very important, because when you work with referrals, they honestly are higher quality leads, but you run out of them. So you have to be able to convert a stranger into someone that trusts you. And then once you build that trust, they can become referrals, or they can give you referrals in the future. So yes, the quality is going to feel like it's lower because they don't trust you. But again, these are just humans. So you need to be able to build the skill to nurture someone long-term so that they actually trust you. So you're not going to convert all of them. They're not referrals. You're going to go for the golden nuggets. You're going to go for the 1 out of 10 or the 1 out of 15 people that you can build a trust, that you can nurture and eventually be their trusted advisor. And eventually those people will give you referrals and your business will grow from there. So once you get the hang of it, once you get the hang of nurturing people, it's very powerful. So this is just a very quick and dirty timeline. When you work with a referral, hey, they heard great things. Let's talk about the deal. Let's talk about the actual operations of how we're going to get the deal done. And then let's work together. It's really simple. But when you work with an online lead, first of all, they're very skeptical. And they may be interested in what you have to offer, whether that's a list of homes or maybe a specific property, or maybe you can help them with their home evaluation. It doesn't really matter. They're interested, but you still have to convince them that you're their person. Because remember, everyone knows a loan officer or a realtor. They have a cousin or a friend. So what are you going to do specifically to help resolve the skepticism that, hey, why don't I just work with my cousin? Because they kind of already trust that person. So you have to add massive value. And if you don't know how to do that, check out my other videos. We cover it. But one way to really do that is to nurture this person long term. So if they're not ready or they can't financially do a deal right now, then you need to be their trusted advisor in between the wait. So don't just forget about them. Your entire goal is to meet them in person And once you meet them in person, that's when they start warming up to you. And once you meet them in person, it's a lot easier to nurture them. They're picking up your calls more often. So your entire goal is to build enough trust to meet them in person. And eventually, this will result in a deal for you. So let's jump and see how to actually nurture these people. So we're inside the CRM, inside the Nurture app, under the opportunities. Let's say you had a meeting with Slow Susan, and Slow Susan is not ready to do a deal. She needs to get her credit up. She needs to save for a down payment, whatever the reason is. She just can't do a deal right now. So what most people do is they say, oh, it's not a good lead. Slow Susan, I can't make money off Slow Susan. So that's a terrible way to look at it. If Slow Susan's ready in 8 to 9 months, then that's a lot of money in 8 to 9 months. And if you just keep stacking your pipeline with people like Slow Susan, the people that are keeping them warm, nurturing them, those are the people that are making a lot of money 8 to 9 months from now. And remember, it takes time to build up your pipeline. It's not like everyone's going to do a deal tomorrow. So if you forget about her, you're wasting a lot of money. So here's what you do. Make sure you put Slow Susan in your long-term nurture sequence. And what happens is Slow Susan is going to get tips and advice from you over several months. And if you want to see what happens, just go to the automations, go to the editable follow-ups, and depending on if Slow Susan's looking to buy or sell, she'll get different automations. So if you go to the general and buyer, you'll see what kind of text and emails that Slow Susan's getting. So the email number one is just little tips, right? Home buying tips, little text messages here and there. And you see like every 14 days, she's just getting something. Now, that doesn't end there. You can't just put someone on an email and text automation. It is a great first start. It's a great way to make sure they don't forget about you. But it doesn't end there because you have to have a personal touch to this. So here's what else you do. You're going to book Slow Susan inside your own personal calendar. So I have here open a Google Calendar. You might use Outlook. It doesn't matter what you use. It's the same thing. So what you're going to do is set up reminders. And every few weeks, you're going to give Slow Susan a call or add value with something, right? If you saw the interest rates change, that's going to affect things. That's going to affect the prices. If you saw, new properties come up, that's going to affect how she's looking at things. Or if a property sold in the area that she's looking for, that's going to be interesting for Slow Susan. So just make a reminder to yourself, follow up with Slow Susan in your calendar. And what I do is I just put it in the very morning. You don't have to do it first thing in the morning. And then I'll show myself as not busy just because I don't want this to actually be a block in my calendar. And you can repeat this every single month or every 2 weeks. It doesn't really matter. It's up to you. But don't do it less than every month. You want to check in on them, have that human touch, and add value with your check-ins. And if you're doing this consistently with the people that are not ready yet, when they're ready, they're going to be good to meet with you. They've seen you working hard for them. They've seen you keeping them in their mind. And that's how you nurture them so that when they are ready, they can be a deal for you. And more importantly, a future source of referrals for you. So hope this helps. And make sure you use the system. Make sure you have something in place because long-term nurturing is so important.